Doesn't look like anyone's on the track at the moment. Oh, was I just not joined in? Let's just watch Gecko while we wait for the start of qualifying. Hey, mate. So we'll just start a poll for everyone, see who people think will win this week. Hey, DTR. Looks like we might have had a few drop out last minute for this one, so it might be a slightly smaller lobby than usual. Hopefully all will still be good though. We still have obviously got the 3 top in the championship all. They're probably going to be vying for the top 3 again. Gecko in practice getting very close to Rush Racing's time there. And we've got RA Nick in this one, who's filling in for Ost this week. So we'll see how Nick can get on. Might be a difference in which cars are good, as I know a few of the cars have had slight changes to them this week. The new update, having updated the BOP a little bit. Hopefully Nick doesn't suffer from any of the same issues that Ost has been suffering from with the PS4 lag. BRZ got more power, says DTR. Did it get any extra weight added to it, or did it just get more power? Because if that's the case, that could be good for the BRZ drivers. We've got Wabbit hard over RA guy in here, he's in the BRZ as well. Yeah, so if it didn't get any weight added DTR, that'll be very good for the BRZ drivers. That extra little bit of power down the straight, but no effect on the handling through the corners. Wabbit this week goes for another alternate strategy to everybody else, which worked out well for him last week. Now we've got the 5 minutes till quali now, so it looks like we might be starting on time this week. VQS Jack obviously going to be one of the favourites here, a first place and a second place so far, and he was very close to a first place in the last race. See whether Rush Racing goes for the safe strategy if he's leading this time, or if he tries something unusual again. So we've got leading the championship, we've got VQS Jack with a win and a second place, level on points with Rush Racing, who had a second place and then a win. And then Distinct Crimson is third with third place in both of his races. And then we have Gecko in fourth. So Gecko will be wanting to maybe get a good result in this, try and close the gap up to them top three, but that's not going to be easy. So the Merc hasn't had any updates then, Ray. That'll be good news in some ways. At least he knows what he's driving, nothing's changed. Jack's obviously setting the way now, but you never know in this practice if people are putting their all into it. Maybe King Gears is just getting slow, Ray. Hopefully he can have a better race than last time. Hopefully he's got a better strategy idea and not gonna blow it on strategy in the first lap and make his race hard for himself. See who else we've got going round. Arnage Cooper, who I believe was in, would he have been in Division 2 last week? I don't remember him being in our race, so be interesting to see how he does in the Lexus there. PlayStation 2 livery. And he's not far off the top lap times there. Oh, that's not good news then, Ray. Hopefully he will decide to go a bit further into the race and see what others are doing first, rather than maybe making a rash decision early on. Maybe start on the softer tyres, because I believe you have to use the softs and the mediums in this one. Where's that? Oh, I've lost my chat here. So Ray just letting us know then racing softs and racing hards are available, but hards are the only mandatory tyre. So could be a few different strategies going on. I would presume if that's the case that everybody will be starting the race on hards, but it'd be interesting to see if anyone decides to start with a soft stint and see if they can pull away. We've got equal votes for Jack and Rush Racing here to win the race this week. So they're the two that have been battling at the top the last 2 weeks, so that's not a surprise. Hello Jack, good luck in this race, mate. Maybe if Jack hasn't voted yet, he'll give himself a vote and push himself to be the favourite for this one. Blue Racer saying the rear can snap on the MR cars. So, may watch to see how people get on in that final hairpin. Maybe that gives Rush Racing the slight advantage over Jack. I think we might just have a slight delay to the qualifying here. Hopefully we'll be underway soon though. It looks like we've had Kingy's internet go down. Yeah, Ray just confirming there. So there may be a slight wait then. I think Crimson going fastest now. So it looks like everybody's just waiting now for the qualifying to get started. So this race is 44 laps, with the formation lap again being the starting lap, so that there can be a rolling start to allow the lead driver after qualifying to control the pace at the start and control when the race starts. And then we have 15 minutes qualifying. It is down as a night race, but I don't know what time of the night, so I don't know quite how dark it'll be. Actually, I think that did get changed, didn't it, if I'm not mistaken? I think it was supposed to be a night race and it was agreed to be changed. Tyre wear ×3 and fuel consumption at ×2, with the racing softs and the racing hards available. No racing mediums for this one, and racing hard tyres are the required tyres to be used. So we have King Ears back in the lobby, so this is qualifying about to start now then. So we'll keep the poll up till after qualifying's over to see who people think might win, because there may be a change of views when qualifying times have been seen. Let's see who manages to get out the pits first. It's Blue Racer. I think Blue Racer was first out the pits last time as well. Let's go on board with Blue Racer, if he's going to be the first one to do a lap. He does have Jack right behind him though, so see whether he chooses to lead out here or whether he chooses to let Jack by. The problem if you choose to let someone by for the qualifying is you may then end up having to let other people by. Yeah, Racing, good luck everyone. Yeah, good luck for those taking part. And Blue Racer is going to pull over and let Jack by. And Nick is going to stay behind him then. So we'll go on board with Jack to watch the first qualifying lap. So I think it's that hairpin where he's saying the MR cars are going to struggle a bit. It might snap on them and make it a bit difficult on the exit. So we'll see if anything happens there. Yes, Ray, where's King Ears? Nobody's behind him at the moment, Ray, so we'll have to see afterwards. See what sort of banker lap Jack can put in here. Using all the track. Very tricky little section this. If you get one corner wrong, it can obviously mess up the whole section. And now this is where the power cars will come into favour. It looks like King Gears might be having internet trouble, so hopefully everything stays okay for him. So I do think around this track the power cars will have a slight advantage. 24.3, so I think we saw 24.1 in the practice. Let's see what laps everyone else can do. 24.4. Blue Racer maybe not have the best lap. 25.3 there. Oh, we have Gecko 25.0. So the top three look like they're well ahead at the moment. The Stink Crimson yet to set a lap. Who's the other one we'll expect to be up there at the top? Arnage Cooper though, 24.4, putting it on provisional pole at the moment. So currently the man to beat. Lexus may be very good round here. Maybe Arnage Cooper could be one to shock everybody. Maybe compete with those front three guys from the last couple of races. Because he's going purple again, so he is improving on his lap at the moment. Sees anyone in front of him on the track improving? Yes, Jack has just improved. 23.9, very good lap there from Jack. And it looks like Nick has improved his time as well. Is anyone else going to improve? Rabbit sets a better time. Arnage Cooper did improve his time there, but not enough. King Gears sets the time in. Let's see if is there anyone up behind King Gears at all. Not look like it, but let's go on board with King Gears and see whether he's jumping around for us at all. He's been a bit stabby on the throttle there. Maybe being a bit too aggressive. No, he's looking like his connection's okay at the moment, Ray. But a lot of it's down to the server, I think, more than the internet, to be honest. So hopefully everything will stay stable. I wonder if Distinct Crimson is still yet to put in a lap. You alright, Governor? Hello? As Blue Racer improves his time there then. So I think that's Blue Racer up into 4th ahead of Gecko it is. Arnage Cooper I think just improved again there. He did. As King Ears improves. Distinct Crimson has finally set a lap and he's gone up into 4th. So 5 tenths off the lead, but just behind Rush Racing there. So Rush Racing and Crimson will be wanting to improve a bit more. And VQS Jack and Arnage Cooper very, very close to each other. And as we see, King Gears is in front here at the moment, and he doesn't appear to be jumping around at all. So all looks good. Yeah, Jack's obviously got a hell of a lot of pace and a hell of a lot of time to get even quicker as well. As Arnage lets a few cars back to get himself a bit of space. Just needs to find that half a tenth to get ahead of Jack, who currently holds the provisional pole. But there's still plenty of laps left to go as Distinct Crimson just spun on that hairpin there. And he is in the Audi, so coming true about the MR cars, could have trouble there. Plenty of time for you as well then, DTR. As Rush Racing improves his time there. Still a bit more to find though, still another just over 3 tenths. Jack with an amazing time there of a 23.9. So it'll be difficult for anyone to beat that. Arnage Cooper way down on his time there and got a penalty, so he's going to reset to the pits. And Jack is purple by just over a tenth as we flick to him there through that first sector. So can he keep it up through this second sector now then? No, he's gone and got a penalty as well, so will he take that? No, he resets to the pits as well. So it shows these guys are really pushing it now. And if Rush Racing is improving his lap here. We have more than one alien in here, Governor. Quite a few of them, to be honest. Hopefully they give us as entertaining a race as they did last week. As you can already see, Jack's time, just unbelievable there. See if anyone can match it at all. Rush Racing comes across the line, whether he can improve. So he starts his lap, that must have been his out lap then. So Governor voting for Jack for winning. Jack has took over now, but we have got a vote for other. And I'm presuming the other might be Arnage Cooper, who's putting in a great qualifying here. So Rush Racing down on his lap, I presume he's going to give up on this one maybe. See if anyone else is improving. Looks like Jack's just starting a lap. Remember, he did do a 1.5 tenths quicker through the first sector than his best lap so far, and he is 1 tenth up again. See if he can keep it this time and not get a penalty. Well, I think Rush had the race easily won last week, Ray, but he went for the ambitious strategy, but it still got him the win in the end. He clearly likes to drive it fast, and with just the hards and softs available, you would expect that to maybe suit his driving style more, as Jack is now 2 tenths up. So if he can nail this lap here, just this final hairpin to go, and then I think it's pretty much flat out all the way to the line then. Can he get the power down? Looked like he struggled a bit there. If he can keep this up, I don't think anyone will be able to touch this pole lap. Let's see what it's going to be now then. He has improved, but that exit did cost him. It's still a 23.9, sorry. So that he has got more in him, Jack. Just that getting that exit of that hairpin right. Lost about 1.5 tenths there. Let's see if Ardage Cooper is managing to improve at all. Ardage Cooper is down lower in the championship. However, looking at it, he did not take part in the first race. He came in for the second race, so he could be wanting to get up to the top with these top drivers. Currently down in 18th in the championship, but obviously having missed the race. Is he going to improve here? He does improve again, but only by a little bit. Not quite enough to get to Jack. Still a 10th off. Rush Racing has improved though. He's much closer to the top 2 now. He's on his outlap. Distinct Crimson will be wanting to improve. Really throwing that car around by the looks of it there. As King Gears improves his lap, putting himself up into 5th. Good lap there from King Gears, getting up into 5th place ahead of Gecko. Distinct Crimson is improving, but not by much. Can he have a good hairpin here? See, can he get the power down? He's done the same as Jack, but it did look like he got the power down a bit better than Jack managed. Let's see if that's enough to push him any closer to Rush Racing. I think people might be coming back in the pits now so they can get round. Yeah, he improved, but not by much at all, unfortunately. Is he going to go for it, or is he going to come back in for tyres? I think he's going to stay out and go for it. I think if you want to come in for tyres, you've got to do it now to come out and get round in time. He is down, but not by much. What's he going to decide? No, he's going to stay out and go for it on this lap. So this might be his final lap where his tyres are good enough. Yeah, he won't have time to get back round now. Looks like King Gears is not going to do another lap. Rush Racing's come into the pit, so he won't be doing another lap. The top 2 are both still just starting a lap by the looks of it. And there's 2 others. Looks like it's Gecko and Blue Racer. So it looks like when Crimson crosses the line here, we'll have 4 drivers left going for it. But Crimson will cross the line in time for another lap, but I don't know if his tyres will be good enough to improve. Yeah, and he doesn't improve there. I think his tyres have gone off now. So we've got Arnage Cooper with Jack not too far behind. Oh no, Jack's further back. Who's slipstreaming him then? Blue Racer. Blue Racer may be trying to get a bit of a tow, but he picks up a penalty, unfortunately. So that's Blue Racer's lap over, so that'll be a 7th place for Blue Racer in qualifying. Right, so Arnage Cooper, let's see whether he can improve at all. Can he get the exit? He does get a decent exit out the hairpin there. Let's see whether he can improve on his lap or not. Jack must have made a mistake, he's coming to the pits. Yes, he can't improve, so just Gecko and Crimson left out on the track. Can Gecko get an improvement? No, he can't, so Gecko stays in 6th. So we've just got Crimson now coming around the final hairpin. Has he been improving on his lap? Might know as to whether he comes in the pits or goes for it. He is going for it, so maybe he is on a decent lap. Let's see, can he improve? No, yes he does just. Thought he hadn't quite then, but he does just improve, but not enough. So that puts Jack in 1st place. Arnage Cooper in 2nd, splitting up the top 3 from the last 2 races. So it could be interesting to see how Arnage Cooper does in this one. Then we have Rush Racing in 3rd, who is competing with Jack for the championship at the moment. So he will want to try and get a good start to get up there fighting with Jack. Then we have Distinct Crimson in 4th, King Gears with a great lap in 5th, Gecko just behind in 6th, with Blue Racer not far behind. Nick, who is stepping in for Rost, only just behind as well, and then Rabbit in 9th. So see if Rabbit can pull off a tactical masterpiece again, but going to be struggle because it looks like he might be a bit off the pace in this one, unfortunately. Blue Racer saying the BRZs are now back marker cars with the new bop. But Jack saying they were worse before the bop change. Maybe the track just doesn't suit them, Blue Racer. Because before DTR was saying they've had a power game but not gained any weight, so they should be slightly better, you'd have thought. But I know they do have a big tyre wear advantage in the last race by the looks of it, so the BRZ guys might have the better, be able to stop maybe one stop less than the other guys. We'll have to see, because hards are mandatory and softs are available, but no mediums for this one. So just the 2 sets of tyres to choose from. Yeah, Ray saying it just doesn't suit the track, which might be the case. Yeah, I would have thought through that middle bit the MRs are better, but obviously the MRs, the trouble they get is if you do make a mistake, it can be much worse of a mistake than if you do in the FRs. As you saw, I think Crimson went on one of his laps at the hairpin, and Jack struggled to get the power down a couple of times out the hairpin as well. But the 3 BRZs are at the back, so clearly struggling a bit more at this track. But they said better tyre wear, might be able to do one less stop, or might be able to take the hards off earlier and do longer on the soft tyres to gain an advantage maybe. But we'll see what people choose to do in the race. Gecko just says starting soon there, so hopefully everybody's ready for the start. So I said it'll be a 44 lap race, even though it says 45. First lap will be a formation lap, a pace lap, a sighter lap, whatever you want to call it, where they will go around the track single file and then they will set up double file for the manual rolling start, which pace will be dictated by the leader, and Rush used that to good effect to hold off Jack in the last race, who was on better tyres from the start. So let's see if Jack can do the same in this race, because he will be the one dictating everybody's pace at the start. Let's end the poll then. So it looks like Jack is the favourite to win the race. Nobody voting for Crimson. Couple for Rush Racing and a couple for other, who I'm presuming will be Arnage Cooper. Will be an interesting factor in this race. As you see, let's see what tyres people are starting on. So we have Jack in pole starting on the hards. Then we have Arnage Cooper in P2 starting on the hards. Rush Racing in P3 starting on the hards. Distinct Crimson on the hards. King Gears has gone for the softs. So King Gears our first one to go for a different strategy here. Interesting to see how it works out. Might take them as long as he can before putting the hards on. Gecko is on the hards. Blue Racer on the hards as well. Nick also on the hards. And Rabbit is going for the alternate strategy on the softs. Unusual from the back, but maybe trying to see if he can get a few overtakes made early on. Maybe do as few laps on the hards as possible. Waiting till the end to see how few laps he can get on them, maybe. Yeah, good luck to everybody here. We have lost our good view for some reason. This is the one we want, our more cinematic view. So as they come round now, I believe now they'll start to set up double file. Slow down to a specific speed that they have been told. And then Jack will then take control of the pace for the start. So everybody's up together, so now Jack will control the start now. Arnage Cooper needs to stay behind him, and it's for Jack to choose when to go. And he's gone by the looks of it now. He has managed to get the jump on Arnage Cooper. It looks like Rush Racing is looking to the inside there, but he does not manage to get in. He has to back out of that one. So Jack manages to get away there. Everyone will want to keep it clean on these first couple of laps. Yeah, they're all just keeping in a line for now through that middle sector. Obviously a lot of the overtaking will be done slipstreaming down this straight, I believe, but interesting to see if anybody will work together or if people will be fighting for position. I believe the GT does have a lot of power. It looked very fast in the straights in the last race, so that might be where Jack's gaining an advantage down this back straight. Yeah, because even in slipstream there, Arnage Cooper did not gain very much at all on Jack there, but he did get a much better exit out the hairpin by the looks of it. But again, another long straight. Yeah, and that Lexus, even in the slipstream, is not gaining at all on that GTR. So that GTR, now it's got the lead, could be a struggle for anyone to get by. Crimson lagging a little bit. Let's have a look, see if there's any issues as King Gears gets past him. Yeah, it does look like he is wobbling a little bit there. Yeah, it's definitely got a bit of a side-to-side GT7 jig. So that's unfortunate. So people maybe have to be careful when they buy Crimson. Bit of a shame because everything looked fine in qualifying. But King Gears has got up into 4th then, so good start from King Gears on the soft tyres. It's what he needs to make positions. Where's Gecko gone? Gecko's must have had an incident and he's got a penalty, so a poor start again this week from Gecko. He can't blame me this time because I did not go to him, so all on him for this mistake this time. But he had a great recovery race in the last one at Barcelona, so let's see if he can do the same again now. So we've got 3 of the RA guys at the back unfortunately here. Hopefully they can push forward. But King Gears, obviously starting on them soft tyres, he's looking to make his way through the field, and he's now going for the move on Rush Racing, and that is an easy pass there. But how long will those soft tyres last is the question. That might be good for Rush Racing though. King Gears might be able to pull him a bit closer to Arnage Cooper, because he'll be wanting to get in that front battle, because he's battling Jack for the championship at the moment. But Arnage Cooper is all over Jack here. Oh, as Rush Racing makes a mistake there by the looks of it, and Crimson comes by. So yes, Crimson has got by then, so big mistake there from Rush Racing. Not what he needs. So it looks like that front group of 3 have pulled away a little bit, but Distinct Crimson and Rush Racing will, I presume, work together now to try and catch them back up. Excuse me. So we still have Jack leading the way here. Yeah, look at the power of that Ford. As Rush Racing comes into the pits already. So again, we saw Rush Racing at Barcelona liked being on the hards. So is he going for that tactic again? He's like being on the softs, sorry. So is he going for that tactic again? Just going to do as many soft runs as he can and just go as fast as he can. And I don't think he put any fuel in, which is not surprising. Did Gecko come into the pits as well? Then I presume he did. So Gecko has come into the pits to put softs on as well. Probably with having the poorer race, he's going to go for the flat out method after that poor start. Well, let's get back with these front 3 now. And King Gears is going for the move now, making them soft tyres work, which is what he needs to do, getting himself up to second. But we do have to remember King Gears will have the hard tyres to put on later on in the race, as the hard tyres are mandatory in this one. And King Gears goes into first, has Jack and Arnage Cooper both come into the pits. So people are not wanting to do many laps on those hard tyres. So that could be good for King Gears. He could push with these softs and just keep pushing with softs and maybe put hards on for the final stint. But he may choose to use the hards in the middle stint to get them out the way with. It'll be interesting to see. But that promotes Crimson up to second, who is staying on the hards. Be interesting to see if anyone takes the hards long to try and reduce the number of pit stops they have to do, or whether the time difference of the softs will just be too much for that to work. But I think it'll definitely be worth someone trying. Maybe Blue Racer or Jack or Wabbit, sorry, more likely to do that. But Wabbit has obviously started on the softs in this one. And in the pit stop, Jack has managed to have a slightly quicker pit stop maybe, or just pulled away out, coming out the pits. And Rush Racing, as going in that 1 lap earlier, has really helped him, but will he suffer later on? But it's got him back into that fight with these top 2. Adley is now setting purple times. These front 3 these should be sort of the lead three when all the pit stops are done. But it'll be interesting to see where King Gears comes back out when he eventually pits on the different strategy. Does not look like anyone else came into the pits. Gecko is catching up, presuming Nick has been into the pits. He has. So Nick has used his hards, Gecko's used his hards, Rush has used his hards, Arnage has used his hards, Jack's used his hards. So we still have Rabbit and King Gears left to use hards, and we still have Blue Racer and Crimson currently on the hards still. So we'll see how long they choose to go into the race before pitting. Because as we said before, hards are the mandatory tyre. So everybody has used the mandatory tyre other than King Gears, who is in first, and Rabbit, who is in fourth, who have both chose to start the race on the soft tyre, which is the only other tyre available for this race. So see as King Gears managing to pull a gap out. He is 8/10 slower than those top three once they change their tyres to the softs though, so they should be effectively the lead three. When he pits, I expect him to come out behind those three guys. But as you see, we've got a bit of a spread out top four, but then those three that have pitted are looking very close together there. So let's go back to those three. They are still in the same order. Arnage Cooper just needs to gain that more. Oh, it looks like he has now. I'm going to say he just needs that little bit more to get in the slipstream of Jack, which he probably needs the slipstream of Jack because of how fast that GT looks down the back straight there. Because he was struggling to stick with him even with slipstream. So I think if Jack got out of slipstream coming onto that back straight, he would be able to take advantage of that. But these three at the moment, Jack will want to drop them, but the other two may be happy as it is, just sticking behind him for now. Maybe saving fuel, saving tyres to see if they can get an extra lap on the tyres maybe. Yes, it does not look like Rush Racing is particularly pushing Cooper very much, as Crimson now comes into the pits to get off the hard tyres. So let's see where he comes out. I'm presuming he's going to drop a bit of a way behind these guys, having stayed out longer, but that could help him out later in the race. And he's also going to drop behind Gecko by the looks of it. Yeah, here comes Gecko, who had the poor start, but pitting early has helped him gain a place there. But he may let Crimson go, being on the fresher tyres. It may use him to pull him along a little bit. Be interesting to see. So we've still got the front three, are the only three left yet to pit. Crimson is still behind Gecko, and it looks like Nick has picked up a penalty. And these three have now caught up Wabbit and Blue Racer. So these three now are effectively a pit stop ahead of Wabbit and Blue Racer. But King Gears will be hoping maybe that these three get slowed down a bit, trying to get past these two, because there is no reason for these two to, other than to try and save time in their own race. They are under no obligation to let these guys past, as they are currently on the same lap as each other. And it does look like Wabbit was not making it easy, because he was trying to stick with Blue Racer, I think. But he gets himself a penalty and a bit of a big crash now. Does that affect the other two? Is that advantage Jack now? It looks like that might have held up Cooper and Rush Racing a little bit there. Yeah, Wabbit put up a good fight there, but I don't know if he really wanted to or if it was just circumstances forced him to have to, because he didn't want to lose Jack, but he Blue Racer, sorry, but he has done. But Jack has now gained the slight advantage. Arnage, Cooper and Rush Racing will be wanting to get past Blue Racer as quickly as they can now. And Blue Racer does stick wide, but Cooper's got him, but Rush Racing hasn't. But has he got him on the exit? He has. So Rush Racing needed that. And Cooper has just about managed to stick in the slipstream of Jack there after they've got by, which is exactly what he needed. Because as I said before, that GT looks like a monster in the straight. As you see, coming down the straight, he has pulled out of slipstream range. So that GTR is going to be very, very tough for anyone to beat unless Jack makes a mistake or someone can jump Jack in the pits by maybe taking less fuel on later on and trying to fuel save a bit, or fuel saving now behind him and not having to put as much fuel in. But it looks like it's Jack's in control of this race at the moment with the power of that GT. And Jack is much better on his fuel and tyres than Rush Racing, but Rush Racing did pit earlier for his tyres. But I presume none of them put fuel in when they pitted. So Rush Racing, the BMW clearly not as good on fuel as the GT is. But Arnage pretty similar on fuel as Jack. So no real fuel advantage between the top two at the moment as it stands. And King Gears has got his big gap, but he's yet to make a pit stop in this race, and he is also yet to use the mandatory hard tyres. So he will have to put them on later on in the race at some point. But I think King Gears realistically will be wanting to finish P4 or 5 depending. I think P4 is maybe realistically the best King Gears will be looking for. Well, it looks like we have got a move for... Yes, Cooper has taken the effective lead of the race once the pit stops are all over. Racing P5 will be the dream for King Gears. I think that's probably the position he's racing for, but Distinct Crimson made a couple of mistakes earlier in the race, so I think P4 is where his fight is, but whether he'll be able to actually take that fight is a different matter. As Rush Racing gets a penalty, that is not good for Rush Racing, because he is going to drop out of the slipstream of these two guys when he has to serve that. And he's already at a slight fuel disadvantage to the two in front, as you can see. Looks like we may have another group behind forming as Blue Racer comes in for his first pit stop of the race now then. And I'm presuming Rabbit has come in, which he has. So Rabbit easy past Blue Racer there, so... Oh no, Rabbit can't have come into the pit, surely. Because look at his tyres. So Rabbit unfortunately is not in a great position. Maybe not going to pull off the same strategy masterpiece as he did last week. And Nick, who is covering Frost, unfortunately not having the greatest race so far, but he's going to just stick in it at the back. As I said, the BRZs do not appear to be particularly favourable at this track. They do appear to be struggling. And I know down the long straights might be where they've got the biggest issue, especially when you look at how fast that Ford GT is. So I think we still have Wabbit left to pit and left to use the hard tyres, and King Gears left to pit and left to use the hard tyres as King Gears does come into the pits now. So this is going to let Arnage Cooper take the lead of the race. And he has dropped Jack from slipstream. But as I said, look how fast that GT is. It just reels him back in out of nowhere. And he is just gaining so much time on the straights. So Arnage Cooper's going to have to pull out a fair gap to keep Jack out of that slipstream down the straights. And I think if Jack gets a chance, he'll cruise past him no problem at all here. So I think Jack's really in the driving seat in this race, even though he's currently in second position. He clearly has the better suited car overall for the track. But Arnage Cooper is clearly getting the advantage through this middle sector, because he keeps managing to pull a gap. But I think he's going to have more than a second on this back straight to keep Jack away. Let's see now, 1.1 seconds on the exit. And let's see if Jack can gain up into the slipstream there. Time is not coming down as quick now as it was before. Maybe Jack had a slight issue on the exit. But Rush Racing has stayed in Jack's slipstream, so maybe as the tyres are going, Jack is struggling the most being in the MR car. So even though he looks like he's got the fastest car, he may be struggling the most when it comes to tyre wear. But look, that time when they're on the other straight again, he's coming down pretty quick. So, but Rush Racing will be happy with that, because Jack's now pulling him along again. So he'll be able to try and save a little bit of fuel and try and get back on the same fuel amount as Jack and Cooper. But it looks like Jack's got a tiny bit more fuel than Cooper now. Maybe saved a little bit when he let Cooper by, or when Cooper got by. I didn't quite fully see the move, so I don't know if Jack let him by or whether Cooper chose to go for the move. And then Crimson has come out in 4th place ahead of King Gears, but obviously King Gears now on fresher tyres. However, King Gears does have the softs left to use, the hards left to use, sorry. But Gecko now has caught right back up, so interesting to see if Gecko can recover to a 5th place. But there might be an interesting fight with the different strategies at the end of the race between Gecko and King Gears here. King Gears will want to stay ahead of Gecko, because Gecko will have to pit again soon. So I believe we are still waiting for Wabbit to pit. So I'm presuming Wabbit's going for the same strategy as last time. Pit as few times as possible and just try and keep it consistent on the track and hope that that can gain you a couple of places, as he does now come into the pits. And Jack comes into the pit, so strange. Rush Racing was the first one in the first stint to come in of the top 3, but now that they're on soft tyres, Jack has been the first one to come in, and the tyres did not look, I mean, they didn't look great, but they could have been worse. I definitely think Rush Racing has got worse tyres, but maybe that BMW is better at driving with the tyre wear. Oh, Jack just letting us know slip is at 1.5. So maybe that's why down the straights he was gaining so much of an advantage, because he was still in the slipstream. Thanks for that, Jack. Managing to give us that information while taking his pit stop. That's when you know someone is of alien pace. But that even more shows that Cooper was not really pulling that much down the straights on Jack when Jack was in the lead. Jack was definitely pulling better on Cooper when he was in the lead, but Cooper did look a lot better through that middle sector. The MR car was obviously maybe faster when you get it perfect, but a bit more of a handle through that section of the track. But Rush Racing now is probably going to have to push to try and get back in or pit earlier, but he's not chose to come in this lap, so will he choose to come in the next lap? And Distinct Crimson will be trying to catch up to get in that lead battle here. as King Gears is not too far back either, starting to pull away from Gecko with those fresher tyres. Yeah, as Gecko will probably have to come into the pitch soon, similar to Rush Racing. Crimson will still have a while before having to come in, and Arnage Cooper looks like he's got the best tyre wear of those top guys, so he may be able to skip one less pit stop, or at least maybe have fresher tyres at the end of the race. We will see. Wabbit obviously has now come into the pits, but a bit of a mistake there. He has chose to put the hards on now. So is he going to try and do a miraculous end of the race on the hards? I don't think it'll work, and I don't think it'll be the pace, but we'll see what he tries now. As Arnage Cooper and Rush Racing both come into the pits out of the lead. So let's see where they come out compared to Jack. Has Jack managed to put in some good laps after pitting so that he can get ahead of these two? We will see as he comes round, coming past the pit lane now. Are either of them about to come out the pits as Gecko comes into the pits as well? Jack goes by, Cooper's coming out the pits, who's going to have it? Nick is sort of in the way as well, but Cooper keeps that position, but Jack is right back up behind him. Cooper would have liked to have got out ahead of Nick there with Jack stuck behind him. But now they're both going to have to try and get past Nick here. And Rush Racing lost a lot of time in the pits there. He must have had to... Yes, I think the other two didn't put fuel in, but Rush Racing has put fuel in. So Rush Racing might try and do a slightly longer stint on these tyres than the two in front. But the only problem with that now, he's going to have to catch him back up. Yes, Ray, it's fuel. He's definitely put fuel in and the others haven't. I was expecting at the moment for none of them to be fueling up quite yet, but Rush Racing has decided to fuel up at the moment. But he will want to get caught back up to those two. As Jack gets by Nick, but Cooper doesn't. So Jack now inherits the effective lead of this race, with Crimson looking at that rear right, possibly going to have to come into the pits soon. But Kingy is obviously on the alternate strategy to everybody else, the only one left not to have used the mandatory hard tyres yet, so he will have to come into the pits again for sure, but everyone will have a few more pit stops. I think this is definitely going to be a higher numbered pit stop race. So something bad's happened to Cooper there, as Cooper's struggled getting by Nick, and Nick has dropped right back. No, Nick has pitted, I believe, by the looks of that. Fresh tyres, so Nick has pitted. So Cooper's lost a bucket load of time there, unfortunately. Rush Racing right up behind him now, so these two will want to work together to get back in that slipstream of Jack and keep it a three-way battle for the effective lead of this race. Race aim 3 or 4 stops. Well, a lot of them have done 2 stops already, so I think at least 2 more, as Rush Racing really gets out of shape behind Cooper there, but he manages to hold it together and he does not get a penalty. So we were saying it would be the MR cars struggling at that hairpin, but it looks like it is not the MR cars at the moment struggling out of there. It's Rush Racing in the FR car struggling. Watch the BRZ on the softs yet. The BRZ is going much longer, but I don't know if the BRZ has the pace, unfortunately. But the BRZ, the guys are going much longer, as Gecko is slightly out of position with pitting early because of having a poor start to the race. Can we go on Crimson? Yes, Crimson is in the lead. King Gears is probably wanting to know what tyres are like. Crimson has more fuel than King Gears does, and he has worse tyres. So King Gears has got his pit crew looking at the tyres of other teams here to see what's going on. Yeah, Crimson comes into the pits now as expected. That rear right tyre was really going off. So it looks like you can't quite wear the tyres all the way down here. They are starting to lose a lot of pace when they get low. So King Gears inherits the lead of this race. But as I said, King Gears is the only one on track. Still get to use the mandatory hard tyres. Cooper has got a penalty there. So that'll allow Rush Racing to close back up and allow Jack to pull away a bit more. As Jack's a bit slidey around there, but he holds it. So I think we had early on advantage Jack and we're back to advantage Jack now. Unfortunately my dog is pestering me, so I'm going to have to quickly go let him out. So hopefully the race is going alright. I'll just leave you on Jack while I do that. Give me 5 seconds. So sorry about that, guys. If anyone has seen anything happen, just fill me in the chat. But it looks like Jack has still got a 2.5 second lead there. And Cooper's still got a gap to Rush Racing, so maybe there's been more penalties. Yeah, Governor, no. But he out of breath though, running down to let him out and coming back up. So, you know, pure athlete, not just commentary here. Ears lol, what happened to Ears, Ray? Oh, sorry, I didn't see your comment before. Nothing's happened except Jack catching Ears yet. But obviously totally different strategies, and I don't think they're not racing each other. Jack's racing Cooper and Rush Racing here. As I said, I think Ears is racing Crimson. I don't know if it's a poor show though, Governor. It's, you know, animal welfare. You've got to keep Peter happy, haven't you? And ability. You're supposed to be nice to him, Ray. King Ears is possibly our lead RA driver at the moment in this race. It looks like Crimson's maybe dropped a bit further back through that stint. Because again, similar to Gecko and King Ears, Crimson, Gecko, I think are all on, and sort of Rabbit, they're all on a slightly different time frame of pits to everybody else. Yeah, exactly, Ray. You've got to keep the RSPCA happy. No animal abuse going on in this house, even when commentary's needed. So it looks like that gap's staying pretty stable. it comes down a little bit and then seems to pull ahead a little bit, which is probably the difference between this middle sector for the Lexus and then that big back straight for the GT. But maybe Cooper's pushing a bit more now, because he has took about 3 tenths out so far on this lap. And he is pulling away from Bush Racing at a fair rate as well, so it'll be interesting for these top 3 now. They'll have to use strategy, I think. Ears is pitting lap 26. Is Jack listening? Jack will be listening, as he managed to, when he pit stop, give us information. So Jack will be listening, but Jack might not want to wait behind him, because at the rate he's catching, he might catch him. But hopefully, looking at the gap, King Gears will get to the pit before Jack catches him, but it'll be interesting to see. But Cooper has took, what, 3 or 4 tenths out of Jack that lap, so he's pushing now by the looks of it. Very similar on fuel, and Bush Racing has more fuel. I wonder if Jack and Cooper not fueling up on this stint is going to be a mistake. For Jack it's not, because his tyres are not too great, so he's going to be needing to pit for tyres soon anyway. But Cooper looks like if he'd put a bit of fuel in the car, then his tyres are good. Now he's probably going to have to pit for fuel and tyres before he needs to. So Ray saying King Gears will get out the way of Jack, but I think that's probably expected anyway. You know, neither of them will want to lose time. They're both in a different race to each other. I can't see King Gears slowing to let Jack by, though. He's only going to let Jack by without losing time himself, I imagine. Exactly, Ray. Yeah, these 3 here are fighting for the top 3. King Gears is fighting with Crimson and Gecko around that 4th, 5th area on totally different strategies. Jack saying this car eats the rear tyre, so Jack is pitting already. Yeah, it does look that way, Jack. We can see you definitely look like you have the more pace on the fresher tyres, but it does look like you're struggling more as the stints go on. So Jack may have to do an extra pit stop, or maybe struggling for tyres at the end of the race. It'll be interesting to see that. Cooper's tyres are really not struggling at all. Rush's aren't quite as good, and Rush has dropped away, so I don't know if Rush is going to be in this race for the win anymore, unless he can pull a couple of big laps out of somewhere. And it's showing damage, so he's clipped the wall or something. So I think Bush Racing maybe has not quite got the pace of these other guys at the moment in this top 3. Might have to settle for the 3rd place, but I doubt he will stop pushing after what we saw at Barcelona. He will be going for it all the way to the end of the race in this one. So Cooper's now got a 3-second lead, and I imagine he'll have a couple more laps depending on fuel before he has to pit. I mean, his tyres look in really good condition compared to what Jack's were when Jack came in, which explains why he was catching him so quickly towards the end of that stint, as King Gears does now come into the pits with needing fuel and tyres. So Gecko does go by there, but again Gecko's gonna have to come in soon for fuel and tyres. Jack is behind Gecko, so Jack will be wanting to get by as quick as he can so that Gecko's not slowing him down, because if Gecko slows him down at all, that'll play into Cooper's hands. And Blue Racer looking like he will need fuel and tyres. King Gears has put on softs again, but he's got a pit lane penalty, a 3-second penalty. Very poor there from King Gears, must have cut it on the way in or the way out. So that's not very good for King Gears' race. That might be advantage Gecko and Crimson now in this one. Basically just touched it, so not what he would have wanted. As Nick looks alright on tyres and fuel at the moment, but unfortunately is a bit of drift of the rest of the pack. And then Wabbit must have come in again. He didn't have them hards on very long, so he was clearly struggling on them hards. So unfortunately looking like no magical strategy from Rabbit in this race. But you never know if he can keep it going. You never know, mistakes or anything could happen to anyone else ahead. So you always got to keep going in these. He probably touched it more than what he says, Ray. You know what he's like, over-exaggerating things. And there's definitely no innuendo in that. So let's see. Rush Racing has a bit more fuel, but he's going to have to come in for tyres soon. They look like they're on that range where they're going to start to struggle. And Cooper's tyres look like he'll still get a few more laps out of them, but I don't know how much longer he'll be able to go on fuel. And Jack is ahead of Gecko now, so Jack now with the early pit will probably be pulling a bit of a gap on Cooper. I imagine Cooper will come out the pits a couple of seconds, maybe 4 seconds behind Jack would be my guess. Yeah, the fuel is now flashing, so he probably only has one more lap, Cooper, on fuel, but he may put a bit more fuel in than Jack did, and he may do a longer stint on this one. Be interesting to see. Or he may be planning to do the extra stop anyway. And what about Rush? I imagine Rush will follow Cooper in this lap, but he may get an extra lap with fuel, but his tyres aren't as good, so he's probably only losing time to Jack now, and he's obviously not managing to stay with Cooper, so he could do with some fresh tyres to try and push and catch these guys back up. As Crimson will be trying to get himself in this top 3 race, but I think them mistakes early on will be too much for him to be able to be in this race. But you never know what could happen later on, because Jack will definitely have to pit again. Looking at the tyres, Crimson, one more pit, but he might struggle at the end of the race with tyres, because again, look at that rear right, definitely that rear right tyre on these MR cars. He's really struggling around this track. Gecko is gonna have to come in for fuel this lap. He is flashing. So where's Cooper? Are they? No, Cooper stayed out one more lap, so not quite have to come in for fuel yet, but I imagine he'll have to come in this lap. So I wonder here, Cooper and Rush Racing may be coming in for their last stop, and Jack may have to still make another pit stop here. So Cooper and Rush Racing might now have the advantage with the tyre wear. So this is what I said, Jack's car's got the pace, but as you can see, he really has been struggling. He was the last one of the top 3 to pit onto soft tyres off the hards, but he was the first one to pit after the first stint of soft tyres, and having to pit earlier than the others has really not helped him in this race by the looks of it. So let's see, does Cooper come into the pits this lap? I'm presuming he's got to. That fuel looks nearly empty, but obviously we can't see the exact amounts left. Yes, he's coming into the pits then, and Rush Racing follows him. No, he doesn't. Rush Racing is going to stay out one more lap, but looking at Rush Racing's tyre wears, if he wants to go to the end, he's going to want to have as few laps to do as possible. So let's see where Jack is, see how big a lead Jack is going to have, because he's going to now have to try and pull a gap, I think, because I believe Cooper will be on his last pit stop now, but you never know. So Gecko is past Cooper as well now, but as I said, Gecko is going to have to come in for fuel in the next lap. So how far behind? About 8 seconds. So Jack has pulled an 8-second gap to Cooper now then. And Rush Racing will obviously come out behind them as well. So at a guess, I would possibly say Rush Racing is the car, the driver with the advantage at the moment, even though Jack's got the position on the track. Jack is going to have to put in a lot of hot laps here, which he is doing, taking the fastest lap of the race. So Jack is really pushing here, and he's going to have to, because Jack's going to have to pit again, I imagine, whereas these other guys may make it to the end of the race now, even though it might be a struggle on the tyres at the end. But he has put in a lot of fuel, Cooper. Yeah, a lot more fuel than what Jack did, as Rush Racing comes into the pits and Gecko into the pits. So again, I'm presuming this will be their last pit stop. They will try and get to the end of the race now, I imagine. Yeah, Jack is flying at the moment, which is what he's got to do. He's not put much fuel in the car. He's accepted he's going to have to do the extra pit stop, I think. So he is putting in them quali laps to try and make the most of it. And he has got that gap to 9 seconds. But as we saw, these tyres on Cooper's car do last well, and Cooper has the pace. So we could have a grandstand finish again like last week, with 2 cars in the last couple of laps battling it out for the lead. But let's see what sort of laps Cooper's doing here, because Cooper looks like he's flying as well. He's keeping that gap. Yeah, Cooper's only a 10th off his best lap, so Cooper's also flying at the moment. Kingy is up into 4th, but Kingy has yet to use the hard tyres, so we know Kingy has definitely got 1 stop left to go, and it will have to be onto those hard tyres. So unfortunately, that 3-second penalty might have cost Kingy here as Crimson comes into the pits, because I think Crimson, I imagine, will try and get to the end of the race, but as we said, those MRs are really struggling on that rear right, as you can see. So I don't know whether he will struggle at the end of the race. He has put half a tank of fuel in, so I do imagine that'll be Crimson to the end of the race now. And Kingies will have to come onto the hard, so Kingies could still get Crimson if Crimson struggles on tyres late on in the race. And then Gecko, I believe that will have been Gecko's last pit stop, and he will be wanting to try and catch back up to Crimson. So 13 seconds may be too much of a task to do, but as we've seen, those tyres don't last on that R8, but they've not been the greatest on the BMW either by the looks of it. And then we have Blue Racer, I believe will now go to the end of the race. Nick, I believe, will now go to the end of the race. And Wabbit, yes, will now go to the end of the race, because those BRZs are much better on tyres. But unfortunately, those BRZs just don't have the overall lap time to make the tyre wear advantage count at this track. So back to the front now. Jack has extended that gap a little bit more. He is consistently doing those low 24s still. So Cooper's going to have to start putting in some better lap times to catch him. But as we saw, as Jack's tyres go off, Cooper does catch. But Jack is going to have to come into the pit soon. Has Jack put too little fuel in? Is he going to have to go longer than he wants to on the final stint? Would he have wanted a couple more laps? But I don't know when that fuel started flashing. So he may have a bit more fuel than we think to do another lap after this, but he may have to be coming in on this lap. So he may become the hunter chasing down Cooper and Rush Racing, but Rush Racing got stuck behind King Gears here, which is not what he wants. So I think Rush Racing might have to accept a third place here. So let's see, can he get past King Gears? I imagine he'll get by on this straight. Yeah, King Gears has put his indicator on, letting Rush Racing know that he can have the inside, and Rush Racing uses the slipstream all the way to the end of the straight, does then pull out, and King Gears just lifts off early and allows him to take that position. But Jack has come into the pits now. I think Jack has underfueled for that stint, so I think Jack now is going to have to take this last stint longer than he wants, but he has got the pace. It's just whether his tyres can last with that pace. Crimson is now going past. Yes, Crimson does get ahead of Jack. So Jack's got a lot of work to do now, because he's got Crimson to get by. King Gears will have to pit again, so depending when King Gears chooses to pit, he may not have to get by King Gears, but then he'll have to get by Rush Racing to then catch up to Cooper. So how far behind is he? 12 seconds off the lead. So can Jack do this? He is going to have a 12-second gap to chase down. And how's his... Yeah, he's similar fuel to everybody else. So as I said, I presume King Gears is the only one left that definitely needs a pit stop. I believe everybody else here will go to the end of the race from where they are now, other than King Gears. So Jack has to get by these cars, and these cars are not going to help him. Depending on the situation, they might not fight him too hard, but they also ain't going to move out his way. So last race we had Rush Racing chasing down Jack in the final laps, with Jack on the medium tyres, I believe, and Rush Racing on the softs. Whereas in this race we are going to have Jack on the softs chasing down Cooper, who is also on the softs, but Jack is on the fresher softs. The only issue he has got is Cooper's tyre wear throughout this race has looked much better. So I think Cooper, if he doesn't make any mistakes here, might be able to take the win in this one. And the race might be between Rush Racing and Jack again for second place. And just to put that into context, Rush Racing and Jack are currently level on points in the championship after the first two rounds. So if these end up racing at the end of the race for P2, there's going to be no love lost. They are definitely going to fight each other for that P2, because that P2 could mean the lead in the championship, so neither of them are going to want to give it up. So we could be on for the very, very interesting end to the race here. If anybody has anybody they want to look at for how the tyre wear's going, or fuel or anything, or what position they're in, just let me know in the chat. But I think for now we are going to mostly stay on board with Jack, because Jack is our driver that's going to be trying to make his way through the field. So Jack is going to be our one trying to put in the mega lap times to chase everybody down. He's against Crimson, who's pitted not much before him, to be honest. The tyres are not much different, but Crimson has looked like he's struggled a bit more in this race than Jack has. But Crimson is not going to be an easy target to get by. Jack's going to go for the move, is he? Can he make it stick though? No, he can't. Crimson stays in there, and Jack has to give him that space, and he does. So this is slowing Jack down now, so this is giving the advantage to Cooper here. So I'm just going to put another poll up on the screen. Who do we think's going to win this one now? Will it be Cooper or will it be Jack? I'm thinking it's going to be Cooper now. I think Cooper is in the driver's seat. He has got the advantage, especially now that Jack is being held up by Crimson, as Crimson is not going to want to lose that position, because Crimson has had 3 third places so far and is starting to fall adrift of Jack and Rush Racing. So Crimson is going to want to gain as many points as he can over Jack here. And at the moment this is a net P3 for Crimson, so he's not going to want to give it up to keep his streak of P3s going. And King Gears is causing issues for these two as well now, so this is really not helping Jack here, as they are both stuck behind King Gears. But can Jack get a better run than Crimson in the R8? Let's see what happens. All 3 of them going down into this corner now. Crimson pulls to the inside, Jack stays in King Gears' slipstream. Yes, Jack also cuts back. A little bit of contact with Crimson there, so he has to let off to let him keep that position, I believe. So they have both now got past King Gears, but Crimson is still defending this for his life. So this is really helping Cooper out now. But Jack does get by Crimson, but Crimson's going to go for it into turn 1, is he? Yes, but Jack manages to hold that position, sweeping across. The power down the straights of that GT coming into effect there. Crimson will want to try and get back past. He ain't going to give this up easy. And there is 6 seconds now for Jack to chase down Rush Racing. And as I said, Rush Racing is not going to want to give up that 2nd place. I can't see Jack catching Cooper now. Cooper's got to cruise home to victory as long as he makes no mistakes. Rush Racing has got a 6-second gap, but we've seen the pace that Jack can show at this track, so if Jack can get these lap times down, then he may be gaining on Rush Racing, because Rush Racing's tyres are going off more than Jack's at the moment because of him having pitted earlier. But we did see early on how quickly Jack's tyres went off, and already Crimson's struggling to keep with him, so Jack needed to make that move stick a couple of laps earlier. I think that might be enough to save Rush Racing here. Yeah, I think everyone thinks Cooper's got the win now, as King Gears now peels into the pits to use his hards. So let's see where King Gears comes out. Will he come out ahead or behind of Gecko? Because I think now King Gears has obviously lost that 4th place battle now, and he's now in a battle for 5th with Gecko. And Gecko is going to pass him before he comes out the pit, so that's bad news for King Gears. Yeah, King Gears saying pit lane penalty cost him, and that's what I said when he got it. Could cost him the battle for 4th and 5th, but it looks like Crimson's done enough on his strategy to guarantee 4th, so that battle would have been gone anyway. But he definitely would have still been in the fight for 5th. He lost a lot of time with Crimson and Jack behind him, I think, as well, which didn't help. So Gecko on for another recovery drive. So hopefully Gecko can start to not have issues early on in the race, because he keeps putting in these great recovery drives, but we want to see him up in the top from the start. And King Gears may lose out to Blue Racer here. Blue Racer's tyres are not the greatest, but King Gears is on the hard tyres. So the difference between the hard tyres and the fresh hard tyres and the worn soft tyres will be interesting to see here. So we will check back on that battle later on. And then we have Nick in 8th and Rabbit in 9th. Unfortunately, looks like those two might be down in that position. Rush Racing has not gained any time at all on Cooper here. So Cooper's got the win in the bag, I think, now. And Jack has gained, but I don't think Jack is gaining by enough. Rush Racing last week was chasing Jack down, and he gained by enough to give himself one overtaking opportunity on the last lap. Oh, and Jack has pushed too hard. Have we give him the jinx by changing to him as he's got... And he's left the room? Did he have a disconnection issue? Is that why he's gone? That is terrible news for Jack in the championship. But that promotes Gecko up to 4th. King Ears gets his 5th place back. Cooper now should easily have the win in place, which I think he did anyway. And Rush Racing should secure a 2nd. So this will be Rush Racing going into the lead of the championship now. Terrible for Jack. If he does manage to jump back in the chat, if he can let us know what happened there, because we saw him start to slide, and I don't know if he slid before the disconnect or he was having internet issues, which is what caused him to slide and disconnect from the lobby. Well, that is very bad news for Jack there, because he was gaining. I don't think he would have had enough, but he was gaining on Rush Racing. Jack saying the car is awful in the race. Yeah, it looked like you were struggling. Did you just disconnect because of the spin, or was there an internet issue, or what was it there, Jack? You were having to push really hard to try and catch Rush Racing there, I could see, so obviously just pushing that little bit too much when, as you said, the rear tyres on them MR cars were really struggling throughout this race. Crimson was having the same issues. Quit because of the spin. That's unfortunate, that, Jack. Said, I hope I didn't put the jinx on you, because I just moved to you as you were spinning, so hopefully there was no distractions there. Yeah, it's not good to hear, Jack, unfortunately. You had the pace in that race, but as you said, the car just wasn't quite doing well enough on them rear tyres. Probably, as you said, early before the start of the race, trying to come out of that hairpin in that MR car was probably killing the rear tyres, trying to get the traction down. And I think possibly you under-fueled in the second to last stint, because I think your tyres looked like they could have done another 2 laps maybe, which would have given you slightly better tyres for this push at the end, but it wasn't to be. So now let's see what battles we've got going on. We have Cooper 6.5 seconds in the lead, so Cooper should have this one won now. Fuel is flashing, but I imagine he has enough to get to the end of the race, and if not, he will be fuel saving for his life to get to the end of the race, because with a 6-second gap, fuel saving will be much better than pitting, so I can't see that he'll have any issues. Rush Racing should definitely have enough fuel, and he's got a 6-second gap behind him and in front, so he should have a 2nd place with no mistakes. Then we have Crimson in 3rd, who I think worse tyres than the others, so he ain't going to catch, but he's got a plenty big enough gap to Gecko for it to not be any issues for him here. We then have Gecko in 4th now with an 8-second gap to Blue Racer, but Blue Racer has got past King Ears, so them worn soft tyres are quicker than those fresh brand new hard tyres. But can King Ears, as Jack's tyres, Blue's tyres are not looking great, can King Ears push at the end and maybe go for a move on the last lap? We will check back on that in a minute. And then we have Nick down in 7th and Wabbit in 8th. So it looks like the only real battle we've got at the moment is King Ears. As he gets a ½ second penalty, that could be the race for 5th gone now for King Ears. That ½ second penalty could be enough to cost him. But I think this is our last battle left now on the track, is between King Ears and Blue Racer for 5th position, unless any more mistakes happen. We'll just end that poll now, as obviously it doesn't matter anymore with Jack having that unfortunate spin. And Cooper in his 2nd race, he was in lobby 2 for the last race, as he only joined in the last round. So he is now coming for his 1st race in lobby 1. and it looks like he's going to take home the victory. As King Gears comes to serve his slowdown, but he's lost more time through that middle sector to Blue Racers, so I think that battle is over as well now. So let's go on board with the leader on the final lap. So unfortunately, with that spin from Jack, we're not quite going to have that grandstand finish that we thought might be coming between Jack and Rush Racing, in the opposite way to what we had last week between the same two drivers. But Cooper now just one long straight, a hairpin and another long straight with a bit of a curve in it to go, and he will take his first win of the season. Well, technically, because I believe he won Lobby 2 last week, so if that's the case, this will be his second win, but obviously his first win in Lobby 1. And there we go, Cooper crosses the line to take victory. Rush Racing coming round to take second place, which will put him into the championship lead. We then have Distinct Crimson coming to take third, as Rabbit crosses the line to take 8th place. Now we have Gecko coming round for 4th place, so another good recovery drive from Gecko after a terrible first few laps again. He is unfortunately making a habit of this in the last couple of races, but he crosses the line to take home 4th place here. And Blue Racers take home a good 5th place with them BRZ struggling, with King Gears following him home in 6th, and then just Nick left across the line to take home a 7th place. And Nick is filling in for Ost this week, but he has had a handful with that BRZ. Them BRZ drivers do look like they have unfortunately struggled with this week. They've not quite had the pace. They had the tyre wear, but not the pace at the track. So a fantastic race. Big congratulations to Cooper on taking the win, and in the end a very comfortable win. Great strategy and superb pace with that strategy to take home an easy win, because earlier on he was battling with Rush Racing, but he's pulled out a nice gap there. Rush Racing, congratulations on a 2nd place, which will be enough to put Rush Racing into the lead of the championship, I believe. And Crimson, yet again, for the 3rd race in a row, taking home that 3rd place spot. Blue Racer saying his race was a mess. Yeah, it looked like all the BRZ struggled, but it's a great 5th place in the end, considering. You know, probably a bit more than you were maybe expected from the start of the race. Undercut was the better strategy. Possibly King Gears, but Armitage and Rush Racing, sorry, Arnage, Cooper and Rush Racing both were pitting later than what Jack was because of Jack struggling with tyre wear. So for them it was the overcut, but the overcut gave them one less pit stop to do than what Jack did. That was their advantage with doing the slightly longer stints. Yeah, Blue Racer leading Subaru, you can't grumble at that. Leading Subaru in the championship, I believe, as well as leading Subaru on the track again. Oh, you mean they're starting on hard, Kingy? Yeah, I think you could clearly see those other guys had done practice, because they all seemed to know how many laps they wanted to do on the hards. A couple of them did a few more than some of the others did, but they all definitely knew how many laps they wanted. Blue Racer originally thinking of the 1 stop. Possibly could have worked in the BRZ, but looking at the lap times, I do think that those hard tyres, the lap time gap was just too big, I think, possibly for that to work. So I think you chose the right strategy in the end, which is shown with that 5th place. Yeah, it does, King Gears, with that, but I mean that's why they alter the races in this, keep everything different. And you know, this was slightly different than last week, and we did have more strategy than I expected with when people pitted, with Gecko pitting very early after making a few issues, and I believe Rush Racing was it that went into the pits a lot earlier than the other front guys, but then he actually stayed out longer on his first stint on softs. Yeah, unfortunately, it did. I think maybe with enough pace you could have started on the softs, but I just think that with the extra fuel on board, you know, it just made that starting on the softs not the best strategy. But still, as you said, I think without those without that track limit penalty late on and without the pit lane penalty, I think you'd have been right there with Blue Racer at the end of the race. So you know, a fifth place was there. Yeah, thanks for that, King Gears. Right, so congratulations to everybody in the race now as they've all left the lobby. So we're gonna leave it there now then. So thanks for checking in, everybody, and well done to all the racers. Another fantastic race. So we'll see you again for the next one, for the final round of this exhibition series. And hopefully, if all goes well in that as well, we will be having a brand new season planned with obviously more races. So I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.